Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Success Live. Today, I have Patti with me again. And today, Patti is going to be talking about the benefits of being socially connected. And, right?
Yeah, socially connected.
Okay, you looked at me like that. I was like,
I was just watching you, that's all.
Okay, yeah, okay. So Patti's going to be talking about the benefits of being socially connected. So if you have any questions throughout the live, please feel free to write them in the comments and we will address them.
Awesome, sounds good. Hey everybody, happy Friday. Welcome to my second live stream on Instagram. It's like, our 6th or 7th now that we've had with everybody?
Awesome. Episode 5.
Episode 5, all right. So like Janelle said, today I'm going to talk about the benefits of being socially connected. I think when we talk about, being connected, especially socially, it is very important, during everybody's life, really. And sometimes it can be rather challenging after somebody sustains a TBI. But hopefully after today's cast and, some of the things that I'm going to talk about, it can generate some questions for you on your journey, or B, it can give you some information. So one of the things I wanted to start with is the parts of the brain that are affected when we do communicate. So our frontal lobe is activated when we communicate, our temporal lobe, our parietal lobe, and the really cool thing found within our frontal lobe is called the motor cortex. And that is actually like what enables us to be able to speak. So for example, everything that I've said so far in this cast has been generated through those parts of the brain, and my motor cortex, thankfully has allowed me to botch up only like 2 or 3 words.
Oh,
so
it's okay.
We're doing good.
I did.
Well, I'm glad. Thank you. So
you're not the only one.
Yes. Now, when we talk about benefits of socialization, the really cool thing about my job here at Success, being a part of the NeuroCog team and day program team, is I get to talk with individuals 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, and that's just at work. That doesn't involve my communication outside of work. So today, we had a group running, and I looked at the individuals and I said, hey, I am doing a podcast today, and I was wondering what you feel the benefits of socialization are. So I have a couple of them written down because I didn't want to mess anything up. One of our clients, his name was Jesse. He said to me, you're never alone when you're socially connected. You have individuals that you can communicate with. You have individuals that you can talk to when you're feeling sad, when you're feeling happy. It provides you a way to, again, communicate with others. And you're going to notice I'm saying a lot of words like socialization, communication, because when you're socially connected, it channels a lot of different avenues. Another one of our clients, his name was Michael. He talked about, it provides you an opportunity to learn new things. Because the really
Absolutely.
cool thing is, like, even Janelle and I sitting here, I've had my journey in life so far, and if Janelle and I had a conversation, which we sometimes do, she can, get information, and on the flip side, I can learn things from Janelle, because, again, the way that we process and look at our life experiences, it can help the next person when we share it. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Another individual had said it helps with their family connections. And lastly, another individual stated that it's people, when you talk, it can help you balance different emotions, and it can help you regulate the highs, the lows, the middles, the confusion, and it can help you get back to your center, your place of calm. Some benefits. That's like kind of the main point of this podcast, right? The benefits of being socially connected. Well, the good news is, after doing some research, I found out that when you're socially connected, it helps you not feel as lonely. You don't feel as though you are the only one who may be feeling or experiencing something.
Especially within the TBI community, too.
Yes, exactly.
Super important.
It's super important. It's like you just read my mind.
Not even just for clients, but for families as well. I mean,
Definitely.
not really knowing how to navigate through, being a caregiver or something like that, by communicating with other peers. I know that we have a family support group here that they do to, have families connect and communicate and talk.
Definitely. And with those family support groups, I was actually very fortunate to be a part of a couple of those. And, the way that I was able to share the progress of family members, just the look on the individuals' faces of hearing that form of communication. And the one thing that I do think we need to stop and focus on for a minute is sometimes after somebody sustains a TBI, the way in which they communicate can become different. It can be changed. Yeah. It can, definitely be altered. So one of the good things I believe is when we talk about being socially connected, even myself, I talked about the physical way that we speak, but in our day and age, we are lucky to have technology. I know on iPads and, tablets and phones, there's Proloquo, which can help an individual express themselves. We have email, we have text message, we have literally pen and paper, to pass along a note. And the thing about being socially connected, you don't have to do it the same way every time. There's different ways that even here at Success, the way that we communicate with each other, with the clients, with family members, it goes across a wide variety of options. Another benefit to being socially connected is it actually can help sharpen your memory and definitely help sharpen some of those cognitive skills.
What are cognitive skills?
Thank you, Janelle. I was hoping, hence why the hum came out. So cognitive skills, when we think about that is the way our brain will think, the way our brain reads, the way our brain functions, the way we problem solve, the way that we look at a situation and we decide which way we're going to tackle it. Cognitive skills are something that realistically, us as humans, between the ages of, I believe it's 23 and 26, we start to have a cognitive decline just because we're humans. So being, active in sharpening those skills.
That explains a lot. I just had a birthday.
You just had a birthday. That makes sense. Yeah, if I think back and I still remember learning that statistic and just being blown away because it's like, wait a minute, this actually makes sense. And that's why it's so important that we do these activities and stay connected to each other. Another really, really great thing that socialization and being social can do is it can help lower anxiety. Sometimes when we become anxious, and again, this is something, us, and I keep saying us as humans, because the one thing that I want us all to remember is even if we have a TBI, even if we don't have a TBI, if we're caregivers, if we're therapists, if we're, DSPs, RPMs, whatever it might
Family
be.
members.
Family members, yeah. We, at the end of the day, we are all still human. We all still have feelings. We all still have ways that we want to feel connected. And, helping lower anxiety and regulate emotions. I don't know about you, Janelle, but the older I get, there's some things that pop up that can still even shake me to this day. And having somebody to talk to.
Yeah. Sometimes for me, it's just a matter of just saying it out loud.
Oh, totally.
Or even just expressing it out loud, whether, like you mentioned before, whether it's writing it down, whether journaling, anything. Yeah. Writing a note, writing an email, writing a text, anything. I mean, definitely. I'm one of those people. And some people, may bottle that up for a little bit and then they feel comfortable talking to someone, but definitely that's definitely something I do.
No, you actually just said something which is going to help be a really nice segue here, is when we do hold in certain thoughts and certain emotions and certain feelings because maybe we're nervous to share those thoughts, maybe we're unsure of it, and I got a very valuable piece of information from somebody who I look up to very much and have, especially throughout my time here at Success, and they had shared with me once, you can have all the best information in the world, but if you are speaking with emotion and not allowing those words to be heard, the message and the point that you're trying to talk about will get missed. So
I love that.
Yeah, it's very valuable because there are times when we try to be social and socially connected, and let's say somebody's not understanding what we're saying. Now, it may be due to a speech impediment. It may be due to the rate at which we're talking, whatever it might be. Sometimes we get frustrated. And then that frustration can come out. And then all of a sudden you're looking at a situation and it's like, well, why isn't this individual want to talk to me anymore?
Yeah.
You know, so you have to self-reflect. But yeah, when we can go through those moments and we can learn, it can help us for the next time. Because the really great thing about being socially connected, especially with people who you trust and understand you, we're all going to make mistakes. We're all going to miscommunicate at some point in our life, but we also have the ability to turn around and say, hey, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean for it to come out like that. And can I try again? Thank you. I know we do that. But the other thing, and I think it is important, again, there's a lot of important points, but when we sustain a TBI, sometimes our impulse control can go, from 0 to 100. And we can be having a conversation and we might start to say things that we wouldn't normally say before. So this is where, and you talk with members of your team. I'm not trying to give anybody advice here, but this is where you share with those people that you trust. Hey, I didn't mean to say this. Hey, if I go off track here, can you help me come back? And being honest and upfront, because sometimes I think when we talk about being socially connected, especially now with all the social media we have, there can be a lot of judgment. There can be a lot of, oh, you didn't say this right. Oh, like
taking things out of context.
Taking things out of context to a T. So when we take that step back and we converse and we share with those, maybe a trouble that we're having, it can actually help benefit us. And sometimes we feel as though we have to hide those deficits because we're trying to portray this oh, I'm at this level. But, at least in my opinion, and I'm pretty sure throughout your time here, the more honest that you can be with yourself about what you're working on, the bigger strides you can make. So that's something I always want to,
And even just how you're feeling, during that time, just communicating.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big thing. It goes a long way for everyone, even individuals who don't have a TBI.
Definitely.
So we have a question on here, and
it
says,
wonderful.
How can a TBI person achieve social connections despite being scared of being judged?
That's an excellent question. One thing that I think we need to start with is when it comes to our self-esteem. And when we take that deep breath and take that jump to head into a conversation, we have to remind ourselves it can go one of two ways. And in that, the first thing that I want to pause and I want to, say to this individual is, I want you to think about all the times that you started to do something and it may have not went the right way. Or you tried to say something, it didn't come out the right way. And what happened after that moment? Was that the be-all, end-all moment? Or were you given another chance to improve for the next time? So it's one of those things, you start with people that you can trust. You start with people that know and want your best intentions. And from there, if you have a conversation and that person turns around and says, hey, you know what? You did an excellent job sharing this point with me. Why don't we try to say it this way next time? Being open to that,
not criticism.
Yeah, I didn't want to say the word criticism, but it's like that directional influence, that way to improve yourself, that way to. I'm trying to think. It's not.
Think of it.
I know I can't. But think
it's
of it
not
right
criticism. Like it's not meant to be negative. It's just a suggestion. Hey, maybe this next time say it this way.
And also, to add on to that point, if you're scared, the one really cool thing that I loved with one of my communication classes I had in school is you practice the conversation. If this is something that is very important to you, you actually write down points. That way you can stay in line. I'll be honest right now, I have my points written on this sheet. It's something that
I have stuff typed on the computer.
Exactly. These are different ways because each one of us in our own way is going to have that wee bit of hesitation when it comes to communication because you're putting your feelings out there. You're essentially advocating for something that you feel, and that can be beyond scary at times. So practicing, utilizing people that are in your corner, hopefully the more you practice, the less scared you'll feel. And when it comes to judgment, I think TLC, quoted this best about opinions, and I'm not going to finish that statement, but everybody has an opinion. And the thing that we have to do as individuals and as adults is weed out those opinions that can help us or that can break us. Because we all know as we go through life, there's going to be people that want to lift us up, that want to communicate with us, and there's going to be people that want to bring us down. But if you go towards those people that are there to help you and want you to communicate and want to listen, that can be a very, very big part of someone's journey.
Yeah. Wow. I feel like that was like going to be on the news. It's like an inspirational, like little...
Brought to you by Patti.
Yeah. Wow. I'm feeling that. I love that.
Janelle, I have a question for you, and then maybe you can turn around and ask me a question.
Oh, no.
Janelle, when it comes to listening and socialization, what is your opinion when it comes to listening?
What do you mean? Like what? Like
how important is it in a conversation?
Oh, I think it's absolutely important, especially, when you're sitting down with somebody, and if it's, two individuals, you want to know. For me, people's feelings always matter to me.
Totally.
Sometimes people, have a hard time sitting and listening, but to me, that's super important, because if there's a problem, you need to sit down. You need to hear them out, hear how they're feeling. And the same thing goes for me. If you listen to me, I'm going to give you that respect too. Now, I'm not saying if you didn't listen to me, I wouldn't give you that respect, but that's just how I am as a person. I love to talk. I love talking things out, and honestly, a lot of the time, like, my thought is, okay, if you're having a rough day, like, come talk to me. If you, got to say, oh my God, my car, this and that, and, talk bad about your car, like, that's fine. But talk to me. Get that out. Sometimes just, getting things out of your mind and just saying them and spewing them out or writing them down, whatever it may be, getting them out helps me. So I am, big on trying to be there for other individuals, no matter if they're, a best friend, or no matter if they're just, someone on the street and they just look like they're having a rough day. I'm just like, hey, like, are you okay? Like, if you're not, talk to me, say it. I don't know. It could be a stranger, and they could have just had a bad experience, but to me, I don't know. I feel like I'm circling around this.
No, you did a good job. Like, you answered.
Are you listening to me?
I totally was listening to you. But yeah, I actually agree with everything you said. And there's only one point that I want to add into that, though, is when we're socializing and being socially connected, listening is one of like the top 3 important things. Because, for example, Janelle just talked about how she likes to help others, which she's really good at, by the way. She likes to talk with others. She will communicate. She's even like, extended an ear for me like once in a while to be like, hey, if you ever like want to talk, it's all good. But here's the thing. After Janelle said all of that, and if I looked at you and was like, dude, what is your favorite flavor of ice cream? Like, I just had ice cream last night and it would have been phenomenal. Janelle probably would have sat there and been like, but I just spoke about my feelings. I just opened up.
Patti?
Right? Like, why are you talking about ice cream right now? And that's one of the reasons why listening while being socially connected is important. You want to stay on track with that conversation, which will loop back to the practicing of memory, which will loop back to those cognitive skills. And it will give that person that you're talking to, it also shows them that level of respect, like, hey, this person's trying. And when I talk about listening, you do not have to be perfect at listening. You do not have to intently look at the person.
Here like I am.
You don't have to take notes. I mean, even if you were to say to somebody after you're having a conversation, hey, I heard what you said up until this point. Can you just like go back and like help me here with this? Cause like I don't exactly remember. Or hey, can you explain this a little more?
Kind of like I did when you asked me the question.
Exactly. You did it perfectly. Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's so organic.
Rewind.
Yeah. But yeah, so listening is definitely, one of those skills. Another thing that I want to talk about when it comes to being socially connected, and I touched upon this like a little bit, but I just want to go back to it, is if you are somebody who used to communicate in one way, like one form or one style. So let's say prior to your TBI, you were able to communicate verbally, clearly, loudly, articulately, however it might be. And now let's say after your TBI, you're finding that you may have a stutter. You're finding that your volume may fluctuate, without you trying. You may find that you have very little volume, or you may find that your ability to form those words has diminished for a while. I know it's hard. I know it's going to be something that's different, but I just want to remind you, there is a way for you to communicate, whether it is through writing, whether it is through images, whether it's through, still being able to read and showing somebody that passage. There are ways that you can communicate, because when we do feel like we're alone, when we do feel, nervous or scared about communicating, sometimes we can become withdrawn. And then that leads us to a whole other situation. But if you're also struggling with finding a way to communicate, luckily here at Success, we have our wonderful speech therapy team. We have our cognitive rehab therapist. We have our NeuroCog instructors. We have a plethora of people that can help point us in a direction of different ways to communicate. Now, if you are, tuning into this cast and you're not sure which way to go, this is when I would recommend, connecting with somebody in your circle that you trust, connecting with a member of your team and going from there. I'm not saying that you can't try different ways on your own, but if you do try those different ways, please, please, please try to utilize somebody that has your best interests at heart, because you don't want to try something new and have it go down a path that was never really positively intended,
Exactly. Support is having positive supports is a great way to help, with communication and getting used to it and feeling comfortable.
True. One thing I did notice on our wonderful comments here, I have to bring up I speak with dogs at work. They are very social with the laughing face. This is actually, it's a form of being socially connected. Like, I'm not going to lie. Thank you for the person. I know you know
Bettina,
who you are.
Yeah,
Bettina, represent. It's important because sometimes the way that, or the feeling that we have is hard to put into words, right? So having a being, something living that can give you some sort of response, whether it's a bark, whether it's a lick on the face, or a trick being done.
Them being there and
like a fish. Like a fish in it, floating around.
I was imagining my dog sleeping and me talking to him. But,
Okay, well, that works too.
A fish. I like the fish.
I like the fish.
A little better to visualize.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but no, that it's a valid point there. I don't know when fish click, but it just came out. I'm trying to think. One more thing about being socially connected. Being socially connected is something that we actually start with at a very young age. We don't think about it. We don't think, because when it comes to forms of communication, there's verbal and there's nonverbal forms of communication. So, for example, when we are wee little beings, we will, be close to our parents, our, guardians, whoever it might be that's taking care of us. And then as we, get older, some of us are put into a school setting. Some of us are put into a different type of setting, but there's individuals and people around. So we have always been connected in some way, shape, or form. And the one thing that I do want to say about nonverbal communication, this is what I like to call a tricky fish, okay? Because nonverbal communication is something that can actually stop a conversation before it happens, believe it or not. So, for example, if Janelle and I were having said conversation,
okay,
and I was sitting here, arms crossed, looking away, and she's talking to me,
and I'm sitting here crying.
Yeah, cry. Okay, that's a good one. You're sitting here crying, expressing yourself, and I'm just like, this is great. God, to love this. Janelle, how would that make you feel?
That would make me upset.
Yeah.
That would make me sad.
That'd make you really sad. But if you and I were having a conversation, and again, you don't have to stare at the person because that can get really awkward. But if you just sit there,
what I've been doing this whole time, this whole video,
is your body language. You're just looking at the person, looking away. I know sometimes eye contact can be rather hard for some, or even depending upon your culture, it can mean something completely different than it does here in the States. So just putting your body's attention and being open can sometimes introduce or
it's like a welcoming, almost like welcoming feeling. Like yeah, absolutely,
very, very welcoming. Yes.
That's so true. Wow. I didn't even think about that. Like going back to like when you're a baby, or just, not verbally communicating, but that's absolutely true.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
You're very welcome.
Because, I never really thought about it, but that's absolutely true.
Yeah. We are, we are, I'm going to say we are designed. We are not designed for that. We are put into a position where that connection is put in our way before we even really understand what it's about.
Absolutely.
And then as we get older, it's, we weed out the people, the situation, the conversations that we don't want, that we do want. And then at the end of the day, when we think about it, we have our people that we go to. We have our set individuals that help us, maybe calm down, take a deep breath, can guide us in a way to explore ways of ourselves that we haven't before. But just to, wrap things up, unless we have any other questions, I just want to talk about, when you're socially connected, it can be something that can be scary, but also in the next breath, when you allow yourself to be socially connected with people you trust, you gain a level of support. You gain a way for you to, it's almost like practice, experience, experiment, and it also provides you an opportunity to stay open-minded, because I think the thing that each one of us can take away from anything in life is always be teachable. There's always a way for us to maybe help somebody a little bit better, communicate a little bit better, just be a better version of ourselves than we were the day before. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to do things or talk about things that are a little uncomfortable to make them comfortable.
Definitely.
I was kind of freaking out before doing these lives because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to mess up. But you know what? I'm human. You're human. And I can always learn ways to do things better the next time. So
amen to that.
So on that note, if anyone else has any other questions, you can leave them in the comments below. I'm sure we'll have Patti back on here again.
Oh, definitely.
But everyone, enjoy your Friday, and if you're in Pennsylvania, stay dry. I think it's supposed to rain, but other than that, thank you so much for being here, Patti.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. I love coming over.
Oh, that's very nice. All right, everyone, have a happy Friday, and we'll see you next Friday.
Bye, guys.